Good evening and welcome back to Prime of Midlife. What a busy day it has been. I even have my book. And, can I just mention, we have smaller jars, so we're going to be canning beef, stewing beef this evening once I've done the video. So I'll let you know how that goes on. Tonight I wanted to talk about the prospect of inflation being 15%, even more fuel shortages for energy, and how I am hoping to combat that in my day-to-day life. So let me just tell you where I came from with this one. Looking at the news today, normally come lunchtime I will have a look at the news, and depending on what website I go onto, then there will be different kinds of stories. Now the first one I saw was OPEC, the oil cartel. This is the one that Joe Biden went to see to ask for more oil, and would you believe it? Their extra 400,000 to 600,000 barrels a day are going to be reduced next month. They're only going to manage to put out an extra 100,000 barrels a day. So the amount of oil coming from there is going to reduce, and they've said that due to the lack of infrastructure investment, it will be hard to meet demand beyond next year. So they're pretty much, from what I can read between the lines, warning us that they've got no intention of helping us out that much, and prices are going to go up again next year. Then I read an article about EDF, the French energy firm. Now they have nuclear plants, and in France they're going to have to cut the energy coming out of the nuclear plants because obviously nuclear power stations, you need to cool the nuclear things. The rods, I think they're called. I don't know, but you know that it's got the, it's a huge thing for nuclear plants to keep it cool. And in France, with the heat they've been having, the river levels have gone down and the temperature of the water has gone up. That would be the cat. And so there is a rule that they are not allowed to use as much water, which means they're not allowed to produce as much power. So EDF will not be producing as much power, which means they'll be looking for more gas or oil or something because they can't get it from nuclear. Bear with me while I let the cat out, she's not going to shut up. Come on, my baby. There you go. I'm back, the cat's out. So, France is going to reduce its nuclear energy. Then I read a thing about the National Institute of Economic and Social Research has said they're thinking that inflation will be 11% before the end of the year. And I was like, right, okay, that's fine, we've heard that. We don't believe it for a second, but we have heard that. So that was fine. Then, of course, just before we finish work, as you normally do, when you're starting to slow things down about 4:45, 10 to 5, and I just go and bang through all the websites again. And what do I see? Oh, the Resolution Foundation has stated that the pressures are likely to be stronger and longer than previously forecast, and changes in recent months suggest that the Bank of England is likely to forecast a higher and later peak, potentially up to 15% in early 2023. 15%. So, having read that, as I'm driving home, I should do, zoom, my wee brain's giving it this. We've seen the profits that these companies are making. As we're struggling to feed our kids and heat our homes, they are walking away with billions of profits. So I took a strop, as I do, as you know, and I'm done. I am going to cut my electricity usage so much, deliberately. I'm just not going to use stuff if I don't have to, but just not quite yet because I've got a whole lot of pressure canning to do. So, but once these things start climbing, because I think that's the electricity board asking me for a reading, so I need to go and work out my electricity bill. So I was trying to think, how can I not use electricity? Like, not use it. So I had a wee think, and I was like, right, so I need to get candles and tea lights, because especially in the winter when it's horrible and it's cold, and I don't need to actually be doing much. I can do jigsaws and stuff, but candles will give you heat and light. If I'm having a quiet evening, I can quite happily have candlelight. That is not a problem for me. I will just sit and do my crochet by candlelight. I can have a candle sitting beside me, not a problem. So there will be more candles getting used in this house. My other one is wind up lamps and radios. Now, I have just bought 2 wind up lamps because obviously then it's, you know, it's people powered, it's me, and I can wind that up. I can sit and do that for a while, and then I'll have a lamp for going upstairs or whatever. Also a wind up radio. Now the one that I've bought is solar, wind up, etc. But you can charge a phone from it. And don't get me wrong, I know it takes a lot of winding up, but if I'm not putting money in those oil people's pockets, then I will learn how to wind up fast. I will be a fast and furious winder. The other thing I actually got from the readers page, and quite a few commenters have said this as well, get flasks. Because on a Saturday or a Sunday morning, whatever morning I'm here, when I'm off, and actually this morning, and a couple of mornings for work, when I'm up early, because at the moment I seem to be getting up at 5:30, 6 o'clock, which is ridiculous. But I come down the stairs, put the kettle on, get a cup of tea. Then I'll normally put the coffee pot on and get a coffee. And then depending on how long I've got to go to work, I could have a third, that kettle could be on 3 times. So I need to think about that. So why don't I make myself a flask of tea? And then I could be drinking that all morning until I go out to work. As I say, if I'm off for the day, I go through so many cups of tea. So instead of boiling the kettle 3 or 4 times in a couple of hours, make a flask, then you're only boiling it once. And if that takes 3 boils of my kettle out of their pocket, then that's fine. And I know that sounds pathetically small, but see if we all do it, their profits will not be as bad or as good. So that will make me happy. My other thing is, especially if you've got kids, start looking at books and games. Try and wean them off the computer. Start shutting down the time and go, once it's dark you're done, or why don't you come and help me with this? Get them involved in something else. Try and get them off their electronics so you're not spending as much on screens. And I mean, if they're gamers, the gamers' computers eat electricity. So see what you can do to try and get them involved in something else. I'm a great reader, so I just say games and books. You know, Monopoly in a book, that's me sorted. But anything you can do to try and reduce what's happening electronically would be good. And Grant is going to laugh at me in this one. Baths. I'm going to have to cut down my baths. Because I object. Because the length of time it takes me to get my bath water as hot as I like it to fill my bath, which is quite large. I'm now starting to get that I object to paying the energy companies that amount of money because that's them taking the mickey out of me. So I'm going to have to stop having as many baths. I have no words. But if it comes to, I could have my nice relaxing bath while they are laughing all the way to the bank with their billions. I'm not having a bath. I will not have a bath. I will have a shower. I will have a sink wash if I have to. I will not pay that money to have a bath. Because now I'm just getting irked. I'm getting irked at the fact that we are all really struggling and they are walking away with billions in profits. So I am going to cut my electricity use right down as much as I can once I've pressure canned or the meat in my freezer. Because obviously if I pressure can it, I don't need the electricity for the freezer as much, and I can use the wood burner or tea lights or gas camping stove, anything like that, to reheat it because it's already cooked. That to me is much better than having raw meat in the freezer. It's like your rice. You know, you can either do it in the thing with the pot and then wrap it up, or I can dehydrate it or do whatever. Even the microwave rice, I can reheat that. Do you know, anything I can do to start taking money out of their pockets, I am going to start doing. And yes, as I said, I know it sounds ridiculous because I am one person, but one person can start a movement, and so there you go. I have already started by removing my lights in the sitting room. I had these lovely floral things that come out and you've got three bulbs on each light. I've got 2 lights in my sitting room. So Patrick was well told when he moved up here, I want those off. I am not paying for 6 bulbs. I want 2 bulbs, and they need to both be LED, and they don't need fancy shades. I literally want a hat on them so that all the light reflects down, and I am paying as little money as possible, because trust me, I have done the numbers. You need to have LED lights compared to incandescent. So there you go. So that is what we're doing. With the thought of inflation being 15% at the beginning of the year, next year, I am going to take every penny I can out of their pockets. They are not making billions off of me. So now I'm off to go and pressure can my beef, and I will catch you later.